All right, and welcome back if you're there. So, about Cody Bigsby. Make sure I got sound on here. All right. I have three videos I'm going to share, and then we're going to talk about this because I've been reading the comments in some of the groups and some of the Twitter feeds, and I don't know, man. I don't really know what to think about this one. So, here we go. This is the press conference from 5 days ago. Just playing a little bit of catch up on it.
We, in particular, are interested in even more help from the public than we've already received. We would like anyone in this area or who has been close to this area recently to look at any surveillance video that they may have, look and see if there are any photos that they may have captured in this area that may have something that we would be interested in. If there is anybody who has any knowledge of the last time Cody was out and about in the city of Hampton or elsewhere, we want to know. That is at any point in time. If anyone has seen the child that you've seen his photo, hopefully we've all shared his photo. We are interested in speaking to anyone who has ever seen him. That information is going to be very important to us. In particular, if we could focus our attention on the time that extends from around noon this past Sunday up until yesterday morning at 9 o'clock. We are really interested in speaking to people who may have been in this area around those times. That would be very helpful to us. Sergeant Williams will talk more about how to get that information to us. And again, that's what we're going to be focusing our attention on. I will say we continue to speak to the people responsible for Cody's safety. They are still talking to us. They are still answering our questions. We still believe that they are the key to us finding out where he might be and what may.
So this was pretty early on in the case, and it always kind of gets me when very on in the case they're publicly questioning the timeline. He's publicly asking for if you've seen this child at any time, if you have pictures of him, if you were in the area, if you've seen him anywhere at any time. So that always sticks out to me when that becomes such an issue very early on in a case.
Have happened to him. Is that why there's no Amber Alert? There is no Amber Alert because we've worked with Virginia State Police to discuss the criteria, which we are deeply familiar with. This case is not.
And I don't even think the Amber Alert thing was because of criteria. I think the Amber Alert is because they know for a fact that Cody was not abducted. And at this point, because this dude looks like he's pretty good at reading people. I think very early on, probably from the very first moment that the dad reported him missing, they already knew his story was sideways, and the answer is with him, period. So they didn't even feel a need to look any further than right there with dad.
An Amber Alert case. Sergeant Williams will talk more about that as well. And again, you have more people helping you in the search today, more agencies. Can you just speak to who's helping along with FBI? So Sergeant Williams will be able to talk about that as well.
And I'm not going to play that whole video, but I also took note of the fact that very early on they also really limited the search to relatively close to his home. Like they didn't go very far out. So that kind of told me then that, hey, this is not a missing kid like we think of Lena Keel or Summer Wells, where this kid just vanished and is nowhere to be found. This kid is somewhere close by. I'm not going to play the three videos. I am going to play this one because this one has some interesting points that kind of stood out to me too.
Okay, again, I'm Mark Talbot. I'm the police chief for the Hampton Police Division. I'd like to echo Sergeant Williams' comments, thank our partner agencies, thank the public for all of their support. Without them, we would not have been able to travel as far as we've been able to travel in this investigation at this point. This is easily one of the most comprehensive investigations.
As far as I know, nobody has said what they brought out of the apartment. And I've watched those videos to try to get some kind of idea of what they possibly could have had in those bags. Maybe a shape would give it away or something, but no answers yet as to what they actually took from the apartment. But because it was brown paper bags and some of them were relatively small, I'm going to assume that it's most likely some DNA evidence, possibly items that they could get DNA from if they needed it, possibly items in the larger bags, maybe clothes or shoes that they could get sent from for Cody for the search dogs that were involved in the search.
Investigations that I've been a part of, and it will continue to be. I would just like to remind everybody we are all assembled here on behalf of 4-year-old Codi Bigsby. Codi Bigsby was reported missing by his father on January 31st at about 9 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Corey Bigsby, who is a 43-year-old male, called 911 and reported that his 4-year-old son, Codi, was missing. Mr. Bigsby reported that his son was missing from his home on Renelette Drive here in the city of Hampton. The Hampton Police Division responded, including our patrol division and our detective bureau as well. We immediately began searching inside and outside of the residence. Following our search of the residence and search of the surrounding area, we immediately contacted our partner agencies and deployed as many resources as we possibly could on that first day. That has continued up until today. While we were searching, Mr. Bigsby and his children were transported to our detective bureau to help us with the investigation. Mr. Bigsby, ultimately, through the investigation that we conducted, was arrested and charged with 7 counts of felony child neglect. This was based on on his report of leaving his children home alone. He reported
I
that
was just talking and the whole mic was muted.
alone his
But basically, what I said is that um, he's facing 7 charges of child neglect. At a minimum, he's probably facing 35 years. Uh, if they ran them consecutively, minimum probably 5 years each per charge. So why it the comment was made on social media that they didn't believe the dad was leaving the kids home alone, that he had someone who was watching the kids for him, but that somehow he's trying to protect them or he doesn't want to bring them into the middle of all this drama that's going on. And so I have a hard time even figuring out how someone could post something like that, how you could think that, because here's the thing. If he had someone who was watching his kids, why would he first tell the police he was leaving them home alone? Because his own words that caught him these charges. He told the police that he had left the kids alone on previous occasions, which is how these charges came about. Secondly, if he had an easy out to these felony charges, why would he allow himself to even be charged with leaving his children home alone if he could simply say, no, this person watches my kids for me when I run errands. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense that he would be protecting someone in this situation.
5-year-old, his 4-year-old,
Unless, of course, that someone is his sister.
and his 2-year-old twins. This was reported to have occurred on numerous occasions. He reported that it was too much of a burden to bring his kids along with him. Our investigation is not over. It will not end with that arrest. In fact, in some ways, our investigation is going to start and become more intense now. Our partners, in particular, our partners with the FBI, have provided us with an extensive amount of forensic data for us to review and process and follow up on. That will take an extended period of time. We have many interviews to conduct. We still have areas to search, and we have many leads to follow. We will not stop here with this arrest. With that, do you have any questions?
Hey, Chief, you had said that, well, I'm trying to find out, can you say when the last time that Codi?
You know what? People with sense like me and you would not do that. Would not think it was okay to leave 5, 4, and 2-year-old twins home alone. But there was a case recently, and I believe it was in the UK. I'll have to go and try to dig it up again to get the facts. I'm not really sure if it's even that important to dig it up. But there was a young lady in her early 20s who left her daughter home alone for a whole weekend. The daughter was only like 1 or 2 years old. She left the child alone, home alone, the whole weekend so that she could go out and party for her birthday. And I cannot remember if the child got injured and died or the child just got severely injured, but something happened to the kid while the kid was left home alone. And that's how it even came to light. But people do stuff like this all the time. I mean, maybe I won't say he because I don't really want to throw accusations. I don't even think we have enough information yet to really throw any accusations other than his kid is missing and he most definitely knows what happened. But there have been instances where, and I'm trying to word this right, there have been instances where people left smaller children home alone, but would have them like locked in one room, confined to their bedroom or whatever. I guess so in their mind, they felt like the child was safe and couldn't get hurt because they can't get to the stove or the fireplace or whatever. So, could that be what was going on? Maybe they were being left home alone but locked in a room.
When was the last time Codi was actually seen by someone outside of his father or his family? And I say that in part because the court records indicate that on January 25th, well, one of the charges pertained to leaving him alone on January 25th. I don't know if there's evidence that outside of the father for that or you know, what is the evidence that you have? When was the last time he was last seen?
I obviously won't speak to the evidence that we have specifically. We are still investigating the last time that Cody was seen alive and well by anyone. So if there's anybody out there that might be able to help us with that, we would like to know. The charges that speak to the events that occurred on January 20th.
Now, there was this thing where the aunt, right? So I've got to check this again. Sorry about that, Arctic Fox. I got the Streamlabs mod set up. I just started using it. Try sending that message again. Just break it in half or something, and I'll see if I can tweak that in the settings later on. Oh, but the aunt, right? So he's saying here that he's looking for. They're trying to pin down basically the last time anyone saw Cody alive and well. Well, I saw an interview where the aunt was talking, and I don't remember if she was talking to Rhoda Young reporting live or if she was talking to a network reporter, but they basically asked her, when was the last time you saw Cody alive and well? And she said something like, that's irrelevant at this point. I want to say that was in the same interview where she was talking about her husband having spoken to all the children that previous Sunday, the Sunday before Cody was reported missing.
Are based on what we've done up until this point in the investigation.
Being that there is no Amber Alert issue, would Hampton Police Department be willing to stand behind the Cody Alert that would alert citizens in a local area of a kid going missing? Even if it just starts locally and it stands from there, would the Hampton Police Department support something like that?
I'd like to continue to focus on Codi Bigsby as the primary focus right now. At some point moving forward, I think there will be a lot of time to evaluate whether or not we do the right thing to keep all kids safe. I will say Amber Alert is a great tool. It was created in 1996. In 2022, we're all.
Yeah, I'm looking at your message here, Arctic Fox. I don't know why in the world I don't know why it deleted that message. I'll tweak those settings on.
We're all connected. I don't think that we had any difficulty getting the word out about this missing child, and to this day.
Yeah, it is. It is always mind blowing because it's like I don't know, man. And then it's like they're all taking pages out of the same book of failed plays. Like people call in and say, "Hey, my kid is missing. They disappeared in the middle of the night wearing shoes," like we were talking about on Sleuth Mom's channel. They disappeared in the middle of the night wearing shoes. Well, that didn't go over well the last time somebody tried it, but you're gonna try it. Or either, if you'll notice, there's always this thing about putting the kid in water. They hurt these children. The child is unconscious, most likely dead, and then put them in water. Let's put them in the tub. Like that's gonna magically fix it. It's like a series of just like stupid people following in the trail of other stupid people. I don't get it either.
Having any difficulty with that.
Chief, one of the biggest questions that people are having in the community is where is Cody's mother? Is she being questioned? What can you tell us to kind of put some of these questions that folks have to bed as to why she's not out here scouring and searching for her son as well?
I appreciate everybody who's concerned and has those types of questions. I think we should all have questions when a 4-year-old child goes missing. We know where his mother is. We've spoken to her, and she has answered our questions.
Is there someone else that could be involved in the disappearance of Cody that you're looking into that maybe worked with him? Is that a possibility that you're looking into?
We've found no evidence to support someone else involved.
Chief, yeah, let's go to my client. Just have a quick question. Are you guys looking outside of the state of Virginia, maybe to some areas where you see a component or your focus is just into Virginia?
Certainly, we're interested in any information that would lead someone to believe he's outside of the city of Hampton or the state of Virginia. We're certainly interested in that. Again, we have no information or facts or
Now, I'm going to agree with you on that. I think that when Summer is found, she's going to be found relatively close to home, closer than anyone probably expects. Um, I don't know why. I keep thinking that because it's like they're doing all this searching, but how thoroughly are they searching? And then something that he was just saying, he was talking about the mom because I'm really trying to talk. I'm trying to talk about Cody, but I'm trying to talk about Summer at the same time because I really enjoy talking about Summer. I like keeping her name out there, but it's just such a mess. And I really wanted to do something for her birthday or whatever, just to keep her name, her face out there, keep her fresh in people's mind. But it's like, I don't really want to touch that. But yeah, he was saying like the mom. People are questioning how come the mom isn't out searching, how come she isn't doing uh, interviews or whatever. And I think that's another dead giveaway that they have a relatively good idea what happened to Cody, because if they really thought that Cody was missing, then why wouldn't you have the mother? They always have the parents to come on TV and talk about their child and ask for their child to be returned. So that right there tells me they don't believe Cody is missing the way, you think of a child being missing when you hear that. So all the answers again is coming full circle right back to the dad.
reasonable belief that that's the case.
Hey, Chief,
Is that a question? Okay.
Chief, is it still, Chief, is it still your belief that Cody Bigsby can be found alive? Do you still believe that 5 days after he was reported missing?
Uh, I will tell you that we are continuing to search and hope that we can bring Cody Bigsby home. With each day that passes, we become more and more concerned, and we lose a little bit more hope. Obviously, the longer we go, the more tragic it feels.
Chief, is there any reason y'all was doing searches at Aristides today? And what about Starbucks and what about the
Yes, where we search, we have a reason to search.
Chief, is there any evidence that you found that Child Protective Services has intervened in, Cody Bigsby's family where it was followed up? Like, I know that there's a.
It would be inappropriate for me to answer that question.
Exactly, Arctic Fox. And here's a really good example. I don't know if you checked out my playlist on Major Harris, the 4-year old who went missing in Milwaukee. But his dad was out on foot, boots on the ground, looking in dumpsters, looking under houses, everything else. And his dad had warrants, and he knew he had warrants, and he didn't care. Arrest me, whatever, but just hold up till I find my son. So if your kid is really missing, then you're going to be out there regardless. I know I would.
There's a lot of,
law enforcement only allow 50 citizens a day to assist, and would that be a regular practice and not let more of the community assist? Because there were hundreds of people that wanted to help, and they were turned away from helping. So is that going to be a regular occurrence if 4-year-old goes missing? There's only 50 citizens allowed to assist?
We encouraged the public's participation. We had a tremendous amount, and we continue to get a tremendous amount of support from the public. We asked for a specific number of citizens to help us on a particular day. We didn't want to extend our resources beyond what we could handle. The public is always welcome to go out, check their yards, check their trash cans, check areas that they may know, recheck what you know that we did. We are certainly not sitting in some space where we want to prevent people from helping. But we got a significant amount of public support, which we appreciate.
Chief, is Corey Bigsby still cooperating and answering your questions at this time?
He is in a jail cell right now.
Chief, why was it so hard on yesterday for his lawyer to get into the jail and speak with his with the father? Why was the lawyer denied access on yesterday to speak to his father?
Thank you. Mr. Bigsby is a 43-year-old man who's had a full career in the Army. He retired from a position of authority. He seems to be quite intelligent. He seems
Now, this part right here kind of got me. Okay. Now, technically, I guess by the letter of the law, they could use some loophole to keep the attorney from him since he didn't hire the attorney and someone else was hired the attorney on his behalf. But rightfully, they could have let the attorney back. I know when I was a teenager, I got in a little bit of trouble, and my granddad hired an attorney for me once, and I didn't know anything about it. Dude just showed up, but they let him in. So of course it wasn't any serious trouble. So maybe there's a difference. But to me, it kind of seems like if they've been saying all these days he's here voluntarily, da 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 da, then as soon as he has a lawyer, you don't want to let the lawyer see him. You don't let the family see him, and suddenly he has charges.
to be quite capable, and part of his capabilities seems to be understanding his rights. At no time did he request to see an
That
attorney.
is so true.
Had he made such a request, we would have honored that request.
Do you know, did the children have like a
Like there has to be somewhere. If these kids were too much for him and he couldn't handle it, there was somebody somewhere who would have been willing to take these kids either permanently or for a few days or whatever to give them a break.
regular babysitter? Who were they in contact with? Where are the other kids now?
I don't know what it's like in Hampton, but I know where I come from. There's a neighborhood grandma everywhere. Every neighborhood got a grandma.
We are not aware of a babysitter.
And
Where are the other children?
They're safe and thriving.
a few days ago, you said abduction was just not what the evidence was pointing to, and abduction usually is some kind of violent act. Is there a chance he was handed off to a family member and a family member took that, or would you put that under the umbrella of abduction?
There's no evidence that he was handed off to a family member. I will say I've known a few 4-year-olds in my life. I don't know any who decide at any hour of the morning when it's dark to leave their home. I don't know any that do that.
Yeah,
believe
I don't think they should have done that at all.
that's what happened this time either.
Chief, allegedly, they say he was
Because it looks like they're playing games, like the way that they handled that little part. You keep saying he's here voluntarily, then you won't let family see him, you won't let his lawyer see him, you obviously won't let him leave because who's going to sit in a police station for 4 or 5 days without going home to shower, change clothes, eat, whatever, stretch your legs, find out what's going on with your kids, and then suddenly when he has representation, he's got charges. So this is probably actually something that he told them days ago. And they finally decided to use it against him once he had a lawyer who could come in and say, hey, let this man walk.
not here. Y'all said on news multiple times.
I almost wonder if they would have come out better not charging him and letting him leave. And then maybe they could have got more information based on what he did, who he called, where he went once he left the police station.
He was here voluntarily. It's alleged that he was not here voluntarily. Who was stayed here for 4 days and a child missing? Was he held against his will or in custody?
That's Rhoda Young live.
Next question, please.
So that's a yes or no.
Was he held against his
I,
will?
I, I, I think I answered. I think
You didn't answer.
I'll repeat my response. I'll repeat my response from earlier. Mr. Bigsby is a 43-year-old man with a full career in the
Question
United
again, Chief.
States
Was
Army.
he here voluntarily
I'm
or
gonna
was
finish.
he
I'm gonna
held
finish
here?
my response, Miss.
Was he
I'm
here
gonna finish my
voluntarily? It's a
response.
yes or no answer, sir.
He was a capable man who had
Still have to
every
answer the question.
opportunity to ask for an attorney. He did not make such a request.
That was
If he
not the
would have
question.
made that request, we would have
That was
honored.
not the question.
We have his family here. Can we hear from them? Can we hear from
Next
his
question,
family?
please.
We have his family here. Can we hear from his family? He was held against his will.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat your question?
But the charges of neglect that were being brought against Mr. Bigsby, would they have come about if this little boy had not gone missing?
I cannot answer that question. That would be speculation.
When it comes to the search over the next few days, is VDEM, is anybody pulling out resources or it's still going full force? Do we have enough resources to keep going full force?
We will continue to
Oh my
investigate
God, the bots are going crazy.
and search the areas where we need to search.
All agencies still helping if they can.
Yes, the agencies that have been helping have agreed to continue to help.
Chief, do you have reason to believe that Cody Bigsby is alive?
Each day, it becomes harder and harder to believe that Codi Bigsby is alive and well.
Chief, can you say when the last time his mother spoke to Cody?
No, I cannot say.
Do you know when the last time?
I do not know.
Has she been asked that question?
It would be inappropriate for me to answer that question.
Exactly. He would want to check. But then again, he's retired military. So we don't really have any detail on what kind of training he had, what specialty was he in the military, you know? I mean, is he trained to, resist interrogation? Is he trained like to? We don't know. Was he a sniper? Was he like an assassin or something? Is he just cold hearted? Does he know how to cover his tracks and act like everything's okay, and not go back to the scene of the crime or whatever? We don't know. There are a lot of questions in this case, which is why I find this one interesting. Um, and I really want to know what's going on with Cody, because this case has I think this case probably even has more twists and turns than Summer Wells' case, but just on a different level.
When Corey contacted you all that his son was missing, had he returned from one of these situations where he left the children at home, came home, and Cody was missing, or can you not comment on that?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Hey, Chief, for the record, some people, regardless of their educational background, still are not aware that they have the right to an attorney. So that being said, did he at any time was notified that he could have an attorney, or if someone's family hires a lawyer to go see their client, isn't it permissible for the attorney to go see that person? Or that
Mr. Sir, again, for everybody, I'm here for a 4-year-old child. I'm here for a 4-year-old child.
Now that's another good question. Did they even tell him that he had an attorney there trying to represent him? Did he even know he had a lawyer there?
His father was made aware of.
I mean, I get it. I'm all for. We're here for Cody. Cody is definitely. I'm sorry, Cody is definitely the victim in all this. Cody is the most important thing. But at the same time, even though Cody is the victim and we need to find him, we can't do that by trampling on someone else's civil rights. We can't do that by, skirting or playing games with the law, and manipulating the situation. I mean, because if they did one thing wrong, let's say if they did do something wrong by not letting his lawyer talk to him, if they did do something wrong by not letting that lawyer talk to him, that could ruin the whole case, hands down. That could be the end of it right there, and Cody would never get justice for whatever is going on with him. So, I mean, I think they really need to play it more careful when they start playing games like that.
Of his rights. His father was absolutely made aware of his rights. We will continue to do everything possible to find his sons, or his child.
And the more I listen to him, the more I think that that's what happened, because the question was not, was he informed of his rights? The question was he made aware that there was an attorney there representing him? But the answer that keeps coming back is he was absolutely made aware of his rights. That was not the question.
That is permissible and appropriate. We've never taken a step that was impermissible or inappropriate.
Chief, can I ask you, I know 2 days ago at a press conference, you said you do not believe that Cody may have gone missing when the 2 a.m. time that was originally put out. Can you say with confidence now that is not when he went missing?
What I said is that the facts that we had didn't match up with what we were being told in a number of cases. So we simply need to investigate more to determine when exactly he went missing.
Chief, for the record, we all are here for the child, but we all are here to also make sure y'all follow the laws that has been constituted. So everybody is required to have a fair trial. And if we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until we prove our innocence.
Chief, do you
Thank
feel
you.
like there's a disconnect between the disconnect between the community, law enforcement, and city officials? Because the citizens still haven't heard anything from the mayor. We still haven't heard anything from city council, and you're the chief of police and the city manager. These are who the city looks up to. And a lot of the community feels like there wasn't as much of a sense of urgency for this 4-year-old you keep mentioning as there should be. We feel as if there was a stronger local leadership, this would have been on CNN.
Don't worry, Arctic Fox. I'm gonna fix that too.
Find this 4-year-old that we have been tirelessly searching for the last 4 days voluntarily. So do you feel as if there's a disconnect between law enforcement, city officials, and the community?
No. We've been supported completely. We've been supported by the mayor, the city manager, the assistant city manager, by other agencies. Fire chief is standing up here with us. We've had a significant amount of support. I am the police chief. This is my responsibility to lead this investigation. I've had everything that I've needed to lead this investigation. There is no disconnect. I will take one more question. Yes, ma'am.
He is so dismissive of Rhoda Young when she's talking to him.
We have a timeline that we're working on that still needs work. It's a work in progress. Thank you so much. Thank you.
If we could please ask the family questions. The family is here, so we would like to get both sides.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, even in the way that he was answering the reporters, you could tell that he was kind of just like skirting around, and so he's real good at like manipulating his words, using his words a certain way. So they probably did not tell that man that he had a lawyer there. I think I want to watch this video. This might be the video I was
All right,
talking
there are new
about.
developments tonight in the search for Codi Bigsby. The boy's
that's
father,
tough.
Codi Bigsby, was in court today. He's charged with 7 counts of felony child endangerment. Police say he left his kids, who are 5 and younger, home alone. Hampton police say these charges are not directly related to Codi's disappearance. Bigsby reported his 4-year-old son missing on Monday. Crews and volunteers jumped into action to try and find him. Now it is day 5 of the search. Today, Hampton Police Chief Mark Talbot confirmed there is no reason to believe Codi is not in Hampton somewhere. But he acknowledged that time is a big factor in these types of cases.
With each day that passes, we become more and more concerned, and we lose a little bit more hope. Obviously, the longer we go, the more tragic it feels.
Hampton police also told us today they are shifting resources toward finding and examining evidence in the case.
Meanwhile, community members are doing their part to try and help find the missing 4-year-old. Sarah Hammond is live in Hampton now with the latest for us. Sarah.
Guys, 5 days after Codi Bigsby was reported missing by his father, there is still no sign of the 4-year-old. And up until this afternoon, this parking lot's been filled with Hampton Police, Hampton Fire, the FBI, VDIM, dogs, helicopters, drones. The list goes on, but you can see it is a very different scene here tonight. And earlier today, Hampton Police told us the search for Codi is not over. They're moving their focus to a more evidence and intelligence-based operation. And although you won't see crowds of police here, community volunteers are still on foot searching for the missing 4-year-old. Ugana Jones with the Black Lives Matter 757 search team says they will still have boots on the ground until Codi is found. She says they've been...
Let's see if I can get to the aunt's part. Oh, that's not the aunt. That's the Uganda Jones. Yeah, that's not the aunt.
Be out here until we find baby Cody. We have too many dedicated people, and we're not going to stop, regardless of what the investigation or the police do. We're still going to be out here.
Now, one thing I did like about this case, and I'm going to go ahead and shut this stream down here in a second, is how everybody came out. I mean, law enforcement came out and they were like, 50 people. That's all we need. But the whole community came out and did their own organized searches and still are doing their own organized searches. I mean, they mean this baby is going to get found. So that is a good thing for Codi. Yeah, I'm not going to share this. This is old. All right. I thought I had found something else with the updated timeline, but it's old. It is the newest date on it is a few days ago. Thanks for joining me, Arctic Fox. Sorry about the Streamlabs bot. I am fine tuning it so that I can like the spam out and the bots or whatever. Because we're about to grow. Before I close the stream, we've got some awesome things coming up soon. At the end of the month, I will be doing an Ask Me Almost Anything for my birthday. I'll be live. I'll probably go live about 10:30 the evening of my birthday eve and just bring in my birthday with my YouTube channel. I'll open up the platform. You guys can ask me questions and I will answer almost anything. What else? I am going to bring Where is Wednesdays? Where is Wednesdays? I will definitely mod you. If you're willing to be one, I will definitely mod you. I don't think I like that Streamlabs thing. Where is Wednesdays? It's going to be cold cases. None of the super old, like 30, 40-year-old cold cases that will probably never get solved. But I want to focus on cold cases that are like 10 years or less old, or if they're older than 10 years and it's something where there is still a good likelihood that it can be solved. The first two cases that I'm going to do on there, and they're probably going to be pre-recorded videos, it's going to be Jadakiss McNeil, a teenager who went missing, strange circumstances, weird responses, and interactions with the police. Just it's a bit of a mess. And also Marcus Virgin. His is kind of a cold case, but kind of not. It happened almost 20 years ago. A couple of years ago, they arrested 3 guys who are currently in jail awaiting trial and sentencing for his murder, but there's still no body. And still no full answers for the family. So we're going to start doing Where is Wednesdays. That will either start this Wednesday or we will start next Wednesday. But that will be a weekly thing. It'll be a pre-recorded video that will be uploaded for your enjoyment. And of course, Thursdays will be dedicated to like just deep dives, ongoing series. Right now, we're doing homeschooling. After we finish that, I don't know what the next thing is going to be for Thursday nights after homeschooling, but we will find something good to delve into every Thursday night. So, thanks for joining me. I am going to mod you, Arctic Fox, as soon as I get off of here, and hope to see you all Thursday as we start to look into the case of Imani Moss.